Just a real quick thing I wanted to mention here and touch down upon before I'm probably gonna end up doing another video a little more in depth about this, and maybe even another one where I show some trades I did back in the late 90s and early 2000s internet era. But yeah, so back in the early internet era, specifically AOL, there used to be a Magic the Gathering chat room. And that's where we all kind of congregated and got together. We did a lot of trades. We did a lot of, ideas for decks that went on to become some of the most influential and memorable and winning decks of all time. And a lot of the people in the chat room are some of the big dogs. I'm not going to name names right now, but you know who you are. A lot of the guys from that AOL chat room, Magic the Gathering, are the big finance guys now and collectors, and they've kind of kept that momentum going since then and never stopped. They had a early in on it. They kind of had a sense that this is the real deal. This game really is a magical game. It really used to be, and that's kind of what I'm trying to convey, is that back during this AOL chat room era, the dojo era where we all used to go for decks and to kind of and post ideas and whatnot. But this trading era specifically, we would, a lot of us, would travel to meet, to do trades, to even just to do, a whole 3-day weekend going to the shop that's your local shop and trading and playing in the local tournament. For me back then, it was Junior Super Series. I was pretty young back then, but I was heavily into it. I used to go to Gen Con. I did JSS multiple times. I did PTQs. I did a lot of pre-releases all the way up till I think I quit after the Nemesis pre-release originally. But this AOL era specifically is a golden era, I think, of Magic the Gathering, and it's kind of long forgotten. I don't know if anybody else has already touched down upon it and done a video on it, or kind of showed remnants of any trades they've done, but I recently came into a lot of the old envelopes of trades I did, and it really made me laugh. I was trading my Yawgmoth's Will for Star Wars cards at the time, back when the Star Wars game was popular, and my brother wanted to play that, so I was like, oh, I need to get some of the good Star Wars cards now. So just some of these trades are mind-boggling, and the value of what cards used to be, and just the way that we used to do refs list. It was called references of who's a good and bad trader. You had your refs list, like, oh well, like, yeah, you could trust me to trade the Mox Sapphire because I have 2,000 refs, and then it was a good time back then. It was simpler. It felt real. The game really had something going back then. The tournaments were different. It's extremely hard to describe. There's plenty of videos on YouTube of just old school tournaments. I suggest just kind of putting those on in the background and letting them play out, because the culture was great back then. It was, a lot of people might think that, it had this real, like, single-handedness to it back then, and straight and narrow, but no, it was everywhere. It was everything. I remember seeing it on MTV, ESPN. It was just everywhere back then. It was huge, and without being cheesy, though. Like right now, it's cheesy. If they try and put it everywhere now, it's because it's like money's being spent in a corporate office to push it into that realm of whatever popularness, whatever we're on now, Lord of the Rings and video games, and trying to combine and collide worlds to make a buck and keep relevance. But the absence of relevance is what's really hurting the game. It's not relevant anymore.